we've learned one thing over the past year, it's that maybe the unions have too much power over our kids. Maybe these government unions have too much power, and we should be taking away their power, not giving them more power.
Ohio Senator JD Vance, a soulless opportunist, weighs in on unions and workers instead of looking inside his own house.
I remember it was about this time last year when the whole topic of encryption came up with Apple and the FBI. And I tried to explain it to him. And it was just, there was no point. And so after I criticized him, what happened? And I'm like, Donald, I've told you, at some point, you've got to learn the issues. And that was last time I talked to him.
When really, as Mark Cuban puts it, these guys don't have a clue.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth. Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whatever they call us, we will put America first.
Vance grovels for the MAGA support by spewing racist ads such as these.
Again, context. Presidential candidates lie, and we don't call them on it. And so Donald is just taking it to an extreme. Do I think he's racist in these comments? Or are they racist comments? Yes. And is he playing to the least common denominator of his followers? That's horrible.
Cuban doesn't let the bigotry slip past him.
It's so weird to me how our elites, especially those on the left, define opportunity and define achievement.
Vance knows exactly what he's doing when he says this. Attack DEI, attack affirmative action, and bring the country back to a place it should not ever return.
He is also the commander-in-chief. And he's also in charge of the federal government. That's 4 million plus employees. Everything he says, everything he does, when he does the press conference yesterday, he's not only talking to the media, he's not only talking to the people who voted for him, he's talking to 4 million plus employees. He's speaking as the commander-in-chief.
Love him or hate him, Mark Cuban is right. Trump's words are harmful, especially to those who he technically serves over.
That if you wanted to kill a bunch of MAGA voters in the middle of the heartland, how better than to target them and their kids with this deadly fentanyl? It's really a border crisis that has gone all over the country. It's not just the southern border states that are affected by it. It's everybody. And man, it does look intentional. It's like Joe Biden wants to punish the people who didn't vote for him, and opening up the floodgates to the border is one way to do it.
Blaming non-white people, a Republican staple that Vance blindly obliges for political power.
But we have to start to recognize that racism, comes from us. We as white people all know people who are racist, maybe not overtly racist, but, subtly racist. And when we see people act that way, we have to step in and say something. That's when things start to change.
Pretty simple, but a message that does not jive with Vance's future.
Like a lot of people, I criticized Trump back in 2016, and I'd ask folks not to judge me based on what I said in 2016, because I've been very open about the fact that I did say those critical things, and I regret them, and I regret being wrong about the guy. I think that he was a good president. I think he made a lot of good decisions for people, and I think he took a lot of flack.
Hilariously, Vance tried playing cleanup.
JD is kissing my ass. He wants my support.
And Trump just took a blowtorch to it.
Here's exactly what happens when the media and people like Tim Ryan accuse me of engaging the great replacement theory. I'll tell you exactly what happens, Tim. What happens is that my own children, my biracial children, get attacked by scumbags online and in person because you are so desperate for political power.
He uses his kids as props. Meanwhile,
that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for one race. We've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great. They're all doing good.
Donald Trump can't even get his name right.
So you called Trump not very smart, and he wrote a fortnight ago, I know, on Twitter, of course, I know Mark Cuban well. He backed me big time, but I wasn't interested in taking all of his calls. He's not smart enough to run for president. Who's smarter, you or Trump?
That's like asking me if I'm smarter than a ham sandwich.
And yet amazingly, right-wing fraud Ashley St. Clair attempted to attack Cuban. They had a back and forth over diversity, equity, and inclusion. St. Clair, a writer for the right-wing brain-dead outlet Babylon Bee, challenged the Mavs man on the topic. He would argue, of course, you hire based on merit. Diversity means you expand the possible pool of candidates as widely as you can. Once you've identified the candidates, you hire the person you believe is best. Vance, of course, couldn't help himself but to weigh in. After writing in a tweet, the CEO of IBM said he wanted the demographics of the company to reflect the entire country, and could it be that's what puts his company in the best position to succeed? Do you have a problem with that? Vance would sheepishly write, do the Dallas Mavericks reflect the demographics of America as a whole? If you were trying to make a stupid comment, you nailed it. First, as an organization, as a whole, yes, we do. More importantly, if you understand the value of DEI, it's not in checklists and quotas. It's in understanding how to best compete as a company. We hire the people who put us in the best position to succeed. Then there was the back and forth with Elon Musk, a man who has shown to be the opposite of a genius since his Twitter takeover. Let me help you out and give my thoughts on DEI, Cuban wrote. Good businesses look where others don't to find the employees that will put your business in the best position to succeed. I take it as a given. There are people of various races, ethnicities, orientations, etc. that are regularly excluded from hiring consideration, he added. By extending our hiring search to include them, we can find people that are more qualified. The loss of DEI-phobic companies is my gain. Musk, meanwhile, did the song and dance of someone who was born on third base growing up in an apartheid state with the luxury of having an emerald mine in their family. DEI is just another word for racism, he wrote. I'm open-minded based on the feedback on Twitter to my DEI post. I decided to look for a high-profile organization where the person in charge of hiring was publicly against DEI and see if it was a template for hiring success. Below is the list of hires. Let me first add, I'm not trying to determine whether any man on this list was qualified or not. There are several I think are very talented. I am just presenting the hires, and I'll let you come to your own conclusion whether the lack of diversity, equity, and inclusion helped or hurt. Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Steve Bannon, John Bolton, John Kelly, Michael Flynn, Ryan Priebus, Tom Price, Mark Esper, Anthony Scaramucci, Bill Barr, Mark Milley, Jim Mattis, Mick Mulvaney, Sean Spicer, Dan Coates, Ryan Zink, David Shulkin, Don McGann, Scott Pruitt, H.R. McMaster, Ty Cobb, Paul Manafort, Rudy Giuliani, Jeffrey Clark. I know we talk about how many of these folks will simply just flip like a light switch in order to enrich themselves. We know that this government that is put in place is insanely corrupt. Look at the flip of a John Fetterman. Look at the flip of the female senator from Arizona. I mean, just trash. JD Vance is interesting to me because he seems like a man who knows exactly what he's doing, but doesn't care. This is a man who compared the guy that he has bent over backwards for to the Big H. And then very, very quickly, he just started deleting them left and right. Texts were unearthed of how much he hates Trump. Now it's all Trump. Dems did not run the correct guy in Tim Ryan. We all sort of feared it. It felt like the Virginia gubernatorial race over and over again, where you're just putting the wrong people in place. A lot of progressive policies are incredibly popular across the aisle, whether you are leftist to hardcore conservative. And yet, when I look at Vance, all I see is a total B who will do anything for profit. Peter Thiel calls him up and says, hey, you should run. And he just goes. His overlords say jump and he says how high. He's pathetic. He doesn't believe anything he says. And yet here he is, swindling. A shame. Yet it is the polarizing example of how anyone in this country who is rich and powerful can do anything that they want and woo voters by just saying a few things here and there and winning. Damn shame. Mark Cuban was right on this. Who, by the way, is not right on everything, but he's right on this. And I despise JD Vance. I despise him and I despise what the party has become. Period.